about you? I'm Andy, and welcome to another episode of Scratch Building Basics, where I like to build stuff from anything I can get my hands on, really. So if that's something you fancy, stick around. So in this episode, I plan on building a posable lid bat that could be used for stop motion. Mark Kenwright got in touch through the comments and asked if I could build this for him. So first, I had to do a bit of basic training. I don't really have much experience making things that move, so I went straight to Tinu's channel, the Keys and Craftastrophe, and Tinu has loads of tutorials on the subject. His videos really helped a lot, so if you don't already know Tinu's channel, it's well worth checking out. His videos are really entertaining, even if you're not into crafting. So thank you, Tinu, and I'll leave a wee link for his channel there in the description. So I'll just get my parts together here. I'll collect all my empty felt tips. So I've got a load of lids here and felt tip tubes, so I'll use some of those up. And then I've got some beads. I'm going to use those for the elbows and knee joints. Just some cheap beads I picked up in a craft shop, and it should all go together something like this. I'll string it together with some aluminium wire. So I've got 3 different gauges of armature wire here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist all 3 of them together and just hope that ensures after being moved loads of times it's not going to break. I think after being bent a few times the wire will get a bit weak, so I'm hoping that using the 3 different sizes should prevent that. And then I've got some of my felt tip pen lids. I've cut those down to size, but I still need to drill them out, and they should just thread onto the wire. And then I've got a selection of lids, just a couple of milk bottle lids. There's an orange juice lid there, and then those are just drinks bottle lids, so I'll stick those together, something like that. So I'll just do some sort of sketches first, just to get an idea of how this is going to go together. I came up with a few different ideas just for how an arm could go together, but I think I'll settle on the easiest first just to start. There's a few other ideas I could play with in the future, but I think this is the simplest sort of form I could come up with. Just simple knee joints, elbow joints, shoulder joints. It should all be fairly movable, and then just a couple of different designs for the face. So I stole a new tool from the kitchen, a blowtorch. I was watching a video by the Craftsman on the Steady Craftsman channel. Awesome videos there as well if you don't already know, but you probably already do. But yeah, he was doing a video on plastic annealing for getting paint to stick to plastic. So I thought that might apply to scratch building, and a few people in the comments said the same thing. And then later on that week, Boylay Hobby Time uploaded a video, and he was putting together a model kit and was having problems with the plastic sticking. So he tried just kissing the surface sort of thing with the blowtorch, and it seemed to work really well. So I'm going to try it myself on this build, and I'm also going to do a wee experiment later on just to see what effect sort of singeing or heating the plastic with a blowtorch first has. So if you don't already know, Steady Crafting, the Craftsman channel, and Boylay Hobby Time, 2 cracker channels really worth checking out. And thanks very much, guys, really helpful stuff. So I'm going to take a coffee tin and a blowtorch and just basically give everything a quick lick over with the blowtorch. Just to kind of, the colour of the plastic slightly changes, or the sheen of it slightly changes. And then I'll do the usual, give it a good sand on the surfaces that I'm going to stick. And then for good measure, give it another lick with a blowtorch. And then I'll take my Stanley knife and just go round all the edges that I'm going to stick together, and give it some teeth, just for that glue to sink into and some of that baking powder to grip onto. And yeah, I'll do that with everything, basically all my parts. I'll do it with my lids and my pen lids and anything else that's plastic. So while I'm doing that, here's some more builds from Tom. Tom's pretty much a regular on the channel now, which is awesome. Thank you, Tom, for sending in all your builds. And he's really came along. He went from his first scratch build to these guys, and he's up now. I think this is his 5th or 6th build, and by the looks of it, he's building a whole world. Just unbelievable, and his style is really coming into its own now. Really nice, man. Alrighty, so I've got all my lids stuck together, and then I've mocked up the arms here just to see how they're going to move. And I took my Dremel and just tapered the end of the pen lid there, just to allow for a bit more movement in the elbow joint. And that's going to go into the side of the body, something like that. I've these lids already drilled out, and then on the leg here that'll go through that tube there on the bottom. So I took my two lids and glued them together, and I wanted everything to sort of press fit together, but when I was trying that, it kind of popped this join, so I'll have to make another one of those. I was thinking about replacing it with this bead, but it just doesn't look right. I don't like it. Maybe for a different bot, but not for this guy. So I'll just make another bottom section here and reinforce it this time. So while I'm doing that, here's a quick work in progress from Stevo. Stevo sent a really nice email with these pics, and he's just started scratch building, and he was saying it's brought him right back to his childhood, which is really cool to hear. So thank you, Stevo. Like I said, man, keep me posted. Can't wait to see this guy finished. Alrighty, so I've remade this bottom section. I split it earlier trying to press fit everything together. So I sanded it flat and glued on a wee bit of plastic card, and that should sort of take the pressure of pushing in that centre post, and it should all go together something like this, I'm hoping. And like I said, if I press fit together, so then I'll be able to still rotate the arms and the head and the bottom section. And then I've mixed up some milliput here, and I'm just going to press it into the tube that the armature wire is going through, and it'll take any of the stress just off the plastic that the armature wire is going to put on it when it's bent. So it'll set up rock hard and just support that wire within that tube. And then on the other section, the mid section, I'll just pack the lid with milliput, and it'll hold the wire in place and support it at the same time. So yep, I'll just make sure it's nice and neat so my beads fit over it. And then like I say, my mid section here, just pack it all in. I'll use my wee tool just to make sure it's well packed, and then put my centre post back in, just to make sure it's not obstructing the centre post, and make sure it's all well packed, and that'll hold it nicely. I have got a wee bit of milliput left over, and I would normally make something out of it, but I don't really think I need it for anything, so I'll leave it to one side, and it'll be a good indicator as when the milliput has set up properly. So while I'm waiting on that, here's a build from Darcy, and this was one of the first builds I featured way back, and he's got finished and sent in the finished pics. Just really excellent build, again first time scratch build, and you can tell he's worked really hard on it. All those details are just brilliant, and them thrusters are popping. Really nice build. So on to my experiment. I've got this horrible waxy plastic that's really hard to stick, and I'm going to cut it up into strips and just experiment a wee bit with some different methods of gluing it together. So the first two here, I'm just going to use glue, just plain old glue. I'm not going to sand it or prep it in any way, and instantly you can tell it doesn't want to take the glue at all. It resists the glue as if it's waterproof, or well, it is waterproof, but it doesn't want to take the glue on at all. So I get it together as best I can and put it to one side to dry, and then the next two I'm gonna sand those, just sand them and prep them with my knife, just a really rough 40 grit sandpaper, and put a nice tooth on it and fuzz it up, and then cut some grooves into it just with my Stanley knife, and that'll give plenty of places for the glue to go, and hopefully should help it stick a bit better. So we'll see what happens, but you can see straight away the glue just spreads out a lot better. It doesn't feel like it's resisting the glue, and it kind of bites straight away. You can just feel that it's more of a confident bond. So next two here, I'm gonna sand them again with my 40 grit sandpaper and get it nice and fuzzy. And then I'll take my baking powder, and on one side I'll put some baking powder on and just rub it into those grooves that I've just made. And again, hopefully that'll give it just a bit of extra grip. I just try to buy the finest baking powder that I can find. It was a wee bit of trial and error at the start, but this particular baking powder, it's out of Lidl, so that's where I get mine. But again, straight away, the grip is instant. Once I contact that glue with the side with the baking powder on it, it grips instantly. And then I'll do what I normally do on the join, rub some seasoning into the join, and put that to one side to dry. And then for these last two pieces, the only thing I'm going to do to those is hit them with the blowtorch. Just heat them up carefully, just to let the sort of sheen on them changes ever so slightly, and make sure that I glue together the two sides that I've done with the blowtorch. I don't really know what heating it with the blowtorch could be doing to the plastic, but it certainly changes the appearance of it. And instantly, when I press them together here, they are sliding around on each other, but the glue has acted differently. It is kind of crystallized and sort of dried instantly into like a sheet. It's kind of weird. You can see it doesn't want to stick now. I think it's probably my fault. But you can see on the end of my finger here, it's like a weird crystallized sheet and dried instantly, which it normally doesn't do on this plastic. So I'll leave those to dry for a while, and in the meantime, here's some builds from another Andrew. This first build, the Droid Bounty Hunter, really cool build, just very unique style, really like this one. And then he's got a couple more here. There's a Droid Lunar Lander, and then Pinball the Bot. All really cool builds, love the paint job, and see those edge highlights, just brilliant, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from Andrew. Nice one, man. So back to my experiment. I've been leaving these to dry for about 6 hours now. I did a couple of spoons there as well, we'll look at those later. But my first piece here, this was just glue, and I can see already the glue hasn't bit at all. It's actually still goopy and wet, you know, and you can see in places there where the plastic has resisted the glue. So this plastic does not like glue at all. It needs some sort of help just to grip that plastic. On to the next one, and it looks much better. You can see the glue has actually gripped the plastic. And this one I sanded and did with my Stanley knife, and yeah, much better. It was a lot harder to pull apart anyway, and you can see the glue has actually gripped the plastic. It's sunk into it and dried, you know. On to the next one. This was done with the sanded and then done with a wee bit of baking powder, and again I can see straight away it has bit really well. This is really hard to pull apart. I mean, it's cracking and crunching here as I'm pulling it apart, and the glue has dried anywhere it's been put really, and yeah, really good bond there on that one. And then the last one here, it was just done with the blowtorch, and I think my bad, I didn't pick two very good pieces of plastic. They didn't fit together very well anyway. But you can see the glue has reacted totally differently. It has crystallized almost and kind of dried in a sheet. Yeah, there's definitely something in this. I think in combination with sort of sanding and the baking powder, this could be something very handy for plastics that refuse to stick. You can see the difference there, that this is one just plain plastic, and that one's been hit with a blowtorch, and the glue has just reacted completely different on that one. So yeah, definitely worth looking into this. And on my spoons, basically this just straight up glue on this one. I didn't do anything to these spoons other than glue, and yeah, no resistance at all. It just snaps pretty much straight away. The glue has dried, but it just has no grip at all to this shiny plastic. And then these two, I hit these with the blowtorch, and you can see that they're resisting bending big time. I actually get these bent completely in half. So yeah, like I was saying, there's definitely something in this. I think in combination, hitting things with the blowtorch and cutting grooves in it with your knife and sandpaper and the baking powder as well, yeah, it's all a great help. So yeah, I think this is definitely something worth looking into a bit more. It's certainly going to help in the future when it comes to sticking hard plastics together. So before we get back to building, here's another couple of builds from Tim and his wife Amber. First time scratch building for both of them. They had a wee competition between themselves, which I think is pretty cool. Husband and wife scratch building together, and really cool builds to come up with. This is a Mac Walker type thing by Tim. Love the paint job on this. I've been meaning to paint one of those mouths for a while. I love those on the Spitfires. And then Amber, this is what she came up with. This is her wee, to me it looks like a fully posable bat. Really good job. So nicely done, Tim and Amber. And I do apologise if I butcher anybody's photos on them. My phone has very limited options for resizing images for putting into video, so it's just whatever way it turns out. But anyway, back to the build. Pretty much ready now to assemble my arms and legs. I've got the milliputs dry, and I'll just sort of show you what way it's going to go together here. I had thought about maybe not using the bead for the elbow, but I think it looks much better with the bead in there, so I'll keep it in. So yeah, that'll all slide together, something like that, and then I'll just obviously glue the wire in the end of the lid, and that should leave plenty of room to pose that whatever way I want, as long as I leave sort of play between the joints. So yeah, I'll just snip the wire off, something like that, and uncoil it, and then kind of push it down into the lid as best I can, just to get it out of the way and to kind of sort of grips the inside of the lid. And then I'll just put some glue down and some baking powder, and that should make sure it's not going anywhere. So that's both arms constructed, left to play in the limbs there just to give them plenty of movement. And just put some glue down here, wee bit of baking powder, and you can see in this one I've snipped the wire right off there and then pushed it, just sort of pushed it down into the lid against the inside of the lid. I just want to make sure it's well secured and it's not going to go anywhere. And so far, I have to say, this has been a really fun build. I've really enjoyed sort of figuring out how I'm going to make this move and seeing it come together. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing some more posable bot builds. So that's both the arms well secured. I'll just put the head on here just to see how it's coming together. Like I said, I'm going to keep this head press fitting onto the center post here just so it can keep that movement. And then the legs will fit on something like that. So yep, really happy with how it's coming together. Just need to get his legs built and he'll be dancing in no time. So I've got a couple of beads here that I've cut in half. And then I've hollowed out the centre of them here just with my countersink. It was just a wee drill bit I got in a drill bit set. So yeah, hollowed the insides out just so it would fit better over the connection there on the side of the body. Something like this. And then I could just go ahead and slide on my next leg section just to meet up with that. But I think it would be better getting a bead in between that. It would just give me a better sort of right angle from the hip. And so I've took another bead and drilled a hole in the centre, just so I can, like I say, get that 90-degree turn in the wire kind of thing. And I just get it slid on and get the wire bent, and yeah, it just looks much better. And I think it'll just help move it that wee bit better. And then the rest of the leg is pretty much the same as the arm, down as far as the foot, obviously. And that bead goes on there, but I still need to get it drilled out for the ankle. So I've made these wee feet just from cheap Lego that I got in around £1, and then a couple of packers. And this is just the bag of cheap Lego. It's only £1, only £1 for a bag of Lego, and you get pretty much all the pieces you would need and a wee minifigure. So well worth the money, definitely worth keeping an eye out for. And obviously I bought 2 bags. So yeah, like I said, just made these with the Lego and the packers. These are like glazing packers, I think they're called. But yep, just cut a wee section off those, and I cut all the sort of wee nubs off the Lego, just to make it look a bit less like Lego. And yeah, they're going to be good sturdy feet. They'll go on something like that. And yeah, I wanted the feet to be good and sturdy, obviously, because to give them that walking motion, you need a good foot, you know. And then just to secure that, I shoved a toothpick just up in between the wire and the hole. That just sort of wedged it all tight. You know, and then and just some glue and some baking powder. So I'll snip all that off. And while I'm building this other leg, it would be a good time to thank all my Patreon supporters. So a big thank you to David, Wes, Luke, Matt, Alice, Cavo, Maggie, and Barry. Thanks very much. Really appreciate all the support. And if you want to help make these videos possible, all the links there are in the description. So I've got some bolts on the feet here just to give them a bit of extra weight, and then it means you can use magnets onto the table if when it comes to animating. And I just get them all sort of put together here, something like this. And yep, looking good, ready to go. Well, I could do with some hands, so I'd maybe need to get some hands sorted first. So I just took a couple more beads and drilled out a few holes for fingers, and then twisted up some of my fine gauge wire, and yeah, they're going to make good wee fingers. And the first bit there I've just put right through just to make it a bit more secure. And then I've got some of the shrink, it's like shrink plastic for wires or something. I got a wee kit in Lidl again, you know, let me see. I'd say that wee box like this, and just like heat shrink wire wrap or heat shrink wire protection. But really cool stuff again, and now I've got my blowtorch from the kitchen. I can work away. So yeah, just basically slid those sleeves over the fingers, and then heated them with a blowtorch, and it all shrunk up nicely over the fingers, and you'll still be able to animate and pose those whatever way you want. So really happy with those. It turned out great. So I just need to get those stuck on, and then I need maybe some details on the face as well. So I want to get a couple of eyes on and maybe a wee face plate. So I just cut myself a wee bit of plastic card and just poked some rivets in it just with my wee poker. You know, real cool wee technique just for getting rivets into plastic. So I stuck that on, and then for eyes, I cut this wee bit off a plug protector that you get on a new plug. Just a wee section of it, it's going to make a good eye. And then for the other eye, I cut a wee bit of tube from a spray bottle. So I just need to get those stuck on, and then that's him pretty much good for paint. I'll probably need tweezers to stick these on, they're a bit fiddly. And then just for a wee bit more interest, on the other eye here, I'm going to stick in another piece of plastic tube, just one fits inside the other perfect. So that's going to give it a bit more of a lens look, and just make it a bit more interesting. So that's about him done. I'll get his head put back on and get him primed. And after priming, it did add a couple more details there, just with some guitar string, but it didn't have any memory left on my phone to record it, so I'll maybe show that in the next one. But yeah, it's just normal guitar string. I had it sitting around anyway, and it's great for making wee sort of pipes and wires and stuff, and it bends real easily. So that's about it for this build. Sorry the format for this video was a wee bit different. I got my second COVID jab there a few days ago, and I'm still feeling a bit rough. So I'll back to normal for the next one, hopefully. So as always, thanks very much for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, you just know where to go there, down below, work away. And remember, there are no stupid questions here. And thanks again to all my Patreon supporters. I really wouldn't be able to make these videos without them, so thank you. And I can't forget about Mark. He was the one that requested this build, and I'll get it painted up, Mark, and get it in the post ASAP for you. And he's actually ordered another 2. He's looking a couple of bodies for this guy, so I'm thinking a couple of Mac walkers could be cool for that. So that'll be a future build video. But next will be the painting of this guy. I'll get it done in the next couple of days and get it uploaded. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.